UFC 296 is going down this weekend, and it's a banger of a card top to bottom. So we are going to look at this main card that they got for us on pay-per-view, and we're going to make our predictions. I haven't actually done a prediction video in a little while, so I'm excited to talk about these big-time matchups that we got going on this card. And of course, feel free to let me know in the comment section who you think is going to win in all these 5 matchups. These are big-time fights. I cannot wait. But all right, let's hop straight into it. So our first fight of the night, we got Vicente Luque versus Mr. Controversy, Ian Garry. So for this fight, you know, it's a great fight, man. Both guys really, really good stand-up tactician fighters. Even good, well-rounded fighters. I think both of these guys are very slept on their ground game. Vicente Luque, of course, more so known for his ground game, but has adopted this crazy striking style where, you know, in a way like Nate Diaz also has a really good ground game, but is willing to stand up and trade and bang with you. And the same with Vicente Luque, has a background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but can stand up and bang with the best of them. And then Ian Garry, of course, I know he gets a lot of hate and a lot of crazy stuff over all the controversy he's been through over the past few weeks. But, you know, we got to be real with ourselves. The guy is a really good up-and-comer, especially in this division, and he looks huge for this welterweight division. So for this one, I think I'm going to pick Ian Garry to win. I think Ian Garry has a little bit more solid of a striking game. And I think if Vicente Luque tries to stand and bang with him, I think it's going to cause major problems. Vicente Luque can win this fight, but I think the way he wins it is by taking it to the ground. I just think Ian Garry is just a step above him. I think Luque is going to have a really hard time getting this to the ground. I think Ian, his stand-up is really well. He utilizes his kicks really well, his distance management. And I think Ian Garry wins this one via knockout. In our next fight, we got, of course, the controversial one. We got Tony Ferguson trying to make his comeback to take on Paddy Pimblett. After a crazy 12-fight winning streak, Tony Ferguson ends up going on a big-time 6-fight down slope, losing to Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler, Nate Diaz, and then just recently Bobby Green. It's tough, man. It's tough because I'm definitely rooting for Tony. We all love Tony. Who isn't an MMA fan and doesn't love Tony? Because you are not an MMA fan. Let's be real. Tony Ferguson is an absolute legend, a Hall of Famer. Hats off to the guy because he got shafted in his career. He should have been a world champion way before he was given the actual shot. But after that last performance, after getting submitted as a jiu-jitsu black belt from 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu with one of the best coaches in the world in Eddie Bravo, he gets submitted by a striker in Bobby Green. So of course people saying that he should retire, he's done. But hey, we all know Tony Ferguson ain't going anywhere. The guy is a fighter's fighter, for real. And I just don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. Even though we all might want him to retire, we all might be tired of seeing him get beat up, similar to the BJ Penn situation later in his career. But at the end of the day, I think he's here to stay. I don't think he's going to go anywhere anytime soon. You know, people were wanting the UFC to give him a little bit of a layup here. Instead, they feed him to the young, hungry lion in Paddy Pimblett. I do think Paddy Pimblett is going to take this one. If not on the feet, most likely on the ground. But I think Paddy Pimblett is actually going to want to stay standing up for this fight. But here's where the good thing is. Tony Ferguson's stand-up isn't bad. I know he's slept on a lot now, especially with how much of a downslope he's been on. But let's be real, he hurt Bobby Green. He hurt Justin Gaethje real bad. He hurt Michael Chandler really bad. Tony Ferguson's stand-up still isn't all that bad. Whereas we've seen Paddy Pimblett be very, very vulnerable to getting caught and getting dropped and getting hurt in fights. So I definitely think Tony Ferguson can pull this one off. But in my opinion, I just think Paddy Pimblett is too young, too strong, too hungry. And I think Paddy's going to come into this fight. And I don't want to say steamroll Tony Ferguson, but I think he'll win very decisively. I'm not sure if he'll get Tony out, so I'll say by decision. And the next fight is potentially fight of the night. We got undefeated 17-0, 100% finish rate, Shavkat Rakhmonov taking on the always entertaining fan favorite, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I'm not gonna lie, this fight is very, very tricky. But the weird thing is like the more Wonderboy starts to fight at welterweight, the more he kind of seems a little small. Like in that fight against Kevin Holland, it was such a great fight. Such a very entertaining fight. A really good showing for Wonderboy, especially after getting knocked out by Anthony Pettis. A lot of people questioning if Wonderboy still has it. He goes out there and gets absolutely rocked against Kevin Holland and comes back in a very amazing, very impressive fashion to take home the win. But I just think Shavkat Rakhmonov is just a level above, man. I think this guy is probably going to be the hardest competition Wonderboy has ever faced. And mind you guys, Wonderboy has gone up against Tyron Woodley twice when Tyron Woodley was arguably being considered as the greatest welterweight of all time over someone like GSP. But I just think Shavkat Rakhmonov is something different. The guy has a 100% finishing rate, 9 submissions, 8 knockouts, very well-rounded, very entertaining fighter. And I just think Rakhmonov is just going to be too much. I think Wonderboy is going to fare well on the feet. I really expect Shavkat Rakhmonov to take him down, have his way with him, and win via submission. In our co-main event for the UFC Flyweight Championship of the World, we got Alexandre Pantoja making his first title defense after upsetting Brandon Moreno. He's taking on Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval is a very slept-on fighter. Alexandre Pantoja also, I think, very slept-on. The guy has a lot of skills, very well-rounded, can stand and strike with the best of them, can go to the ground and hit himself on the ground as well. And Brandon Royval is just going to be another tough guy for him on the feet. I really think this is going to be a much more entertaining fight than people are leading it on to be. Brandon Royval has this very awkward, unique stand-up style, and I think he touches Alexandre Pantoja up, to be honest. I think Pantoja can get it done on the ground, but I'm not going to lie, I'm going to root for the underdog this one. I'm going with Brandon Royval to win via knockout. And in our main event of the evening, Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. Man, the king of cringe. That's not Henry Cejudo, of course, but the second king of cringe is back. Colby Covington still, of course, staying in character, talking a whole lot of crap, still being himself. Lately, though, I feel like he's been tamed a little bit. He hasn't been going too wild, too crazy as he was before. After losing to Kamaru Usman twice, it seems as though people are starting to realize it's just an act, so he's kind of pulled it back a little bit. And I do think Colby Covington has the best, stylistically wise, has the best chance of beating someone like Leon Edwards. The guy is very active, is a cardio machine, can set up that striking to go for those takedowns, and sets them up pretty well. Whereas Leon Edwards, he's probably one of the best strikers right now in the UFC, if not the best. And if Kamaru Usman couldn't take him down, I'm not sure how well Colby Covington will fare, especially in this welterweight division. As we all know, Colby Covington is practically fighting at the weight that he, pretty much walks around at. So the guy is a little bit small for the division. And, if Leon was able to fend off those takedowns from Kamaru Usman, I'm just not sure how well Colby Covington will do. So I expect Leon Edwards to take it to Colby, piece him up on the feet, and win via decision. Now, the only reason why I don't think he's going to knock him out, because let's be real, Colby Covington is one tough motherfucker, and he has crazy cardio. So I just don't see him really knocking Colby out cold. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know who you got for all these matchups. This is a big time card. The UFC is definitely ending the year with a banger. I cannot wait. Of course, you already know I will be live this Saturday with UFC 296. Hope to see some of you there. As always, I thank you all so much for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.